Welcome in, Deadlock Legion, to a special presentation of the Death Slam League NA number 4. This is week 1, the Premier Division matchup between the Shiverme Timbers and Friendship Eternal. To guide you through this match, it's me, HD Philly B, and the stupendous Soren Markov. Now, Soren, there's a bit of lore surrounding why we're covering this week 1 match, even though it's week 2.
Yeah, I might have pulled for this one a little bit, pulling my strings. I'm secretly the puppet master behind DSL broadcasting, but I've covered all of Shiverme Timber's Week 1 matches since the start of DSL, and my start as a caster is one of my first ever games, so keeping the tradition alive here in Season 4, covering their Week 1 game, even though technically we're past Week 1 at this point. But hey, it's going to be a good time anyway.
And I'm a big fan of Friendship, and having Friendship's Eternal as the opposite team, it was too perfect of a matchup to pass up. And so we are here today, and maybe an off hour, an off time. I'm currently in the middle of work, and Sword just got all this crazy stuff, but we're here to bring you some wonderful Deadlock action. And because we're going off a replay, we can just roll right through. No breaks, no nothing, and we can head right into it. So let's start with the draft and see what these teams got. We learned a lot about the differences between the regions during DSI this past weekend. Let's see if these players learned a thing or two.
I believe that this game was played on Thursday, so
True.
they might not have had time to learn from the finals, but at least the qualifiers would have been played, and
Fair.
This is a band that aims at that more high-tempo style, at least trying to ban that out in the Celeste. We saw that getting a lot of value just with the roams and ganks going on here. Impeccable movement. There's a whole lot that Celeste can do, and then kind of the other side of the coin, Mirage, one of the best M1 carriers at the moment, so both of those being gone makes a little bit of sense. But with that Celeste ban, I'm looking for Friendship Eternal to pick up either like a Silver or a Venator here to start with, as those are probably the strongest on-paper options left available.
And right before this, we were talking about how the Venator, it was probably the most impactful character that the teams in this Premier Division like to play. So they're going to prioritize that pretty heavily throughout this series, which is a best of 3, by the way. So goes to the distance. We'll be all happy with that. Now it's for Shiverme Timbers. I want them to go with Shiv first, but maybe in the second round of the big fan phase. But Silver definitely on the docket. But it will be the Lady Geist scooped up first.
Sure. With Mirage and Venator banned, Geist is one of the better remaining carries who can go late game, and I think it's decidedly worse than the Venator, but still at least okay. One of your best remaining options. Pocket coming in here is definitely odd. We haven't seen a whole lot of that from higher level matches recently. People preferring, I don't know, kind of other heroes in the teamfight role, your Lashes, your Kelvins, sort of thing. But Pocket is at least going to make sure that Friendship Eternal don't get too comfortable on any sort of tanky heroes, anything like that. So maybe a bit of a preemptive thing here, just looking at the hero pools.
For sure, yeah, and we did some research on these teams, etc. And Shiverme Timbers, there's a number of people on this team that play the Pocket, right? Nyack, Cooper, Takoa, they all have Pocket in their top 3. So if they're picking it up and then they can decide later who it's going to go on, I think that's all well and good. Yes. But that does leave open the Silver and the Calvin for the side of Friendship Eternal. That's a really strong front 3.
Yeah, Venator, Silver, Kelvin. You look at that top 3 and you go, I don't think we could have gotten any better, really. Silver Kelvin is probably the most dangerous duo pick in Deadlock right now, and so I think that probably was a bit of a mistake from Shiverme Timbers letting that go to the first pick team as well. They'll pick up the Ivy, and that'll be a good support option for them, but they're going to really rely on this Pocket getting that max ult and completely denying healing from Silver Kelvin, because that's about your only answer to that, and that comes online a bit later in the game. So Silver and Kelvin probably going to have a fantastic lane.
And it's, okay, how do we pair this Pocket? What lane can we set them up with? Because usually the Geist Ivy get paired together, usually in that off lane respectively, kind of just being a wall there to make sure that the tower doesn't get pushed in. The Infernus will be banned here, but Soren, we've been seeing a lot of Venator Silver in the mid lane as of late, so we might see that here today. And Shiv, it's taken off the board now. Shiverme Timbers, they don't get their namesake character. Tragedy.
When you put it in your team name, you gotta expect to get it banned away from you, but oh well, there it goes. Yeah, as you said, we've seen a bit of variance in how teams want to prioritize putting this M1 in the lanes. Putting it in mid, I think, is a fine option because it gives you that anchor for your other hero to go off and roam to those side lanes and give you a bit extra prio in the waves. Sure. So we could see that with something like the Venator Silver, but still plenty of draft left to go before we get a full idea of how those are going to shake out. Shiverme Timbers, coming out of the mid-stage bans, are going to grab the Abrams. So with Pocket already picked up, you're not as afraid of something like a Tank Buster pick coming in. And Abrams, we've seen, has really been picking up in Prio lately. It seems like anytime we get a patch, it's just a matter of time before people figure out how to play Abrams, and he comes back into the meta. So now it's the microwave build. You know, pop your big circle and don't die in it. You know, you called him a budget victor a couple times over the last weekend. I think that's pretty accurate. So not a bad pickup for Shiverme Timbers. And Friendship Eternal will go with the Dynamo.
I was wondering what they would pick here next, because I feel like a Lash would be really good. You need somebody who's going to go for these box runs, kind of roam. Dynamo can do that, right? You leave somebody in the lane, maybe it's an Abrams, a Billy, what have you. You go for a run, maybe come back. Silver can do the same. I still like the Lash here as like a spirit nuker, that early game presence, but they'll go for the Yamato instead.
Pretty well-rounded comp so far from Friendship Eternal. The only thing that I'm like maybe missing is another gun sort of hero, someone to do a lot of damage, but I think you've got plenty with what you've got right now, and the team fight value is immense as well. Yeah. You can keep your Venator alive, just keep him pumping out damage. You've got Silver in the front line, you've got Black Hole, you've got the Frozen Shelter, you've got Yamato in the front line causing chaos. So if we get into a team fight and Pocket isn't able to hit a big affliction, I kind of worry for Shiverme Timbers, but they do pull a bit of the Uno reverse card no you here with the Sinclair, so anything you can do, this Sinclair can do it better.
And we saw the Sinclair copy the Lycan Curse a number of times over the weekend. I know this is a replay, we might not see that, but it is a possibility to, you know, add that extra durability to your front line, or to counter the Dynamo. If you Singularity, I can Singularity after you, or during, or what have it to cancel. So I really love that the Magician is now back in the meta. And to round us out, it will be the Apollo. Some extra spirit damage on the board here for Shiverme Timbers.
I don't actually hate Gun Sinclair here. You've not only got the Silver ult to copy, you've got Venator as well. And both of those ults hit pretty hard and scale off of gun damage. So, it might be a bit spicy, but at least seeing Sinclair go for gun items early, I don't hate that at all. And then the Apollo coming in here, there's a little bit of a team fight for you there in Shiverme Timbers with the Yutani Losan, but really I'm expecting this to be a bit more of an assassin playstyle. I think you've got a decent comp for that. You can bunny people with the Sinclair or charge them with the Abrams and follow up with some Pocket or Apollo damage. You can get off some nice ganks as long as the supports of Kelvin and Dynamo aren't there to bail them out. So Friendship Eternal will come back with that last pick, which is about what I said that they need. They need a bit more damage. There you go. You got Mina. Last pick Mina is pretty good value in a draft like this, and not a whole lot of squishies on the Shiverme Timbers side to be able to burst down, but if she lanes against a Pocket, that is going to be quite rough.
Yeah, so I was thinking Mina in the mid lane with Yamato, and then I'm like, well, on the other side, what does it gotta be? Is it the Pocket Sinclair, Pocket Apollo? But now I'm thinking neither of those. They might do like Apollo Geist or something just to add some more durability. But folks, it is time to deadlock and drop into the rosters. Let's see what these teams are bringing. We're gonna start with Friendship Eternal.
All right, you see the rosters coming up here, and a new feature of the roster screen that we've got here is you can see what characters these players are on. So we got Hefty Bug on the Yamato, Dio on the Dynamo, etc. You see the names on your screen there, so we'll get to see how these shape out, but not too surprising to see all of these heroes on what they are for Friendship Eternal. It seems to shape out relatively well with their rosters. And then Shiverme Timbers get to take a look at them as well.
Yeah, I love what I'm seeing. So that is Cooper on the Apollo, Tetsuo, and that's, you all know him, a great sponsor of the scene. They're on this team playing the Abrams. Then we have Nyack. You might see him. I'm playing motion controls. That might be their name. Matt, Pinecone, and the Magic Shoe. So a great team. These are names you should get to know, folks, as we are getting started here for game number 1 of week 1 of DSL number 4.
All right, here we go. Now we're going to get an answer to where exactly these lanes shape out. And it's going to be the Apollo Sinclair in mid for Shiverme Timbers. You're taking a look at that one. I thought Sinclair would be kind of a safe pick there. You get those bolts, they're pretty hard hitting, and then Apollo, plenty of lane damage as well. Coming up against the Mina Yamato, you called it. Excellently done, and we'll see how those two are able to fare. I feel like Yamato's going to be kind of important there as the only person who can really tank a lot of damage. So we'll see if they're able to keep their health bar up with the restorative shot and some other items. But then look at the side lanes. Anything you see there that sticks out to you?
I mean, the Lady Geist Ivy makes a lot of sense, but this is the safe lane, so to speak, for Shiverme Timber's side because they have their 2 camp there, so they really want to accelerate this Lady Geist to be that position 1 carry, right? The one that's going to save them in the late game. She really needs to get a lot of farm, and also the Ivy can leave her alone. She'll be okay in that lane, but the Silver and the Calvin, that is just so much health, so much tankability. I don't know if there'll be any kill potential in that lane going forward.
Yeah, and with the slows as well.
Oh, yeah.
You get Boled and Ice Beam, you are not moving for a solid 10 seconds, so you might as well just get comfortable. See if they're able to catch that, especially onto the Lady Geist, who doesn't have any inherent mobility in her kit. Could be happening, but instead it's actually the Ivy caught out first, and a parry onto Pinecone as well. Or onto Magic Shoe. Means a lot of good damage here for that Silver Kelvin, and plenty of healing coming out from the Kelvin as well means that even the damage that they have taken is going to be healed up. So, fairly bloodthirsty start here from both these teams as the Yamato goes down as well.
I mean, they made me eat my word, Sword. I said there wasn't going to be kill potential, but the Pinecone getting crunched into little seeds. That's off of a good parry and some slows. Now going invading for the 2 camp. They steal away those denizens right away from the Priest, but he wants to get some revenge. He's pelting in the bullets, but Pinecone bursted into oblivion again. The Magic Shoe must do some magic now, and it'll only be going back to the grave as there's some more blood in lane number 3.
That's a total of 4 for 1 at this point for Friendship Eternal in this lane. That's, when we talk about good trades in lane, that's not one of them. So, Shiverme Timber's got to be pretty careful but now on that side, because I think as good as Shiv Kelvin, man, the the auto speaker in me went on there. But Silver Kelvin, anyway, are even more dangerous once they get up to those ultimates, because if you can get the Lycan Curse in the Frozen Shelter, it's infinite damage on top of infinite sustain. So once they get those ultimates, it'll be a time for them to get aggressive, maybe push up toward that tower. But here at 3 minutes, it's mostly just box runs.
We haven't really talked too much about lane 1 here, and that's the Venator and the Dynamo. And this is what we kind of expected Dynamo to go for these box runs, maybe gank a lane that might need it, leave the Venator here to get the farm that he needs. But then this Abrams in the pocket, I feel like there's a lot of good damage here. Nice shoulder charge into the suitcase, into the cloak. I mean, you feel like you can get a lot of things done.
That's a lot of burst damage, but that's pretty nicely countered by the Quantum Entanglement if you can be in the right place. Meanwhile, here in the mid lane, we've got Ivy coming in for a bit of a gank, leaving Magic Shoe to his own devices over there in lane 3. That's just kind of a sacrifice. You know that lane's going to be hard to win, so you might as well get some damage in on this mid Guardian while you can. So right now, Friendship Eternal not answering in any meaningful way.
The teams could be gearing up for the bridge buff in about 30 seconds. We know the Lady Geist won't be leaving this lane anytime soon and might be leaving their mortal coil. The Lycan's Curse popped immediately, and it will be Koven with a triple.
Yeah, so I guess that's the responses. Might as well just get a kill over here while you're helping out in the mid lane. And yeah, that gank didn't turn into a whole lot for Shiverme Timber. So a bit of a rough start here as Alfie will at least be traded out in this 3rd lane. No Frozen Shelter online just yet. And now Bolt's coming in onto the Silver as well. Koven in a bit of trouble. So now we have the 3-on-2 in the right side. And Shiverme Timbers are showing that they do at least know how to answer these. They're getting value where they can on the map.
We were wondering in the Green Room, Soren, if there would be a lot of heavy rotations. We saw that a lot on the EU side, and we're like, is that going to translate to the Premier Division? And we're seeing it. Folks are flying across the maps. It's like the laning stage is really only 3 minutes long at this point. It's just a get everywhere that you can. The Yamato left to their own devices, as you said, pretty beefy in the lane. Mina could go for some runs, grab some boxes, maybe a camp or 2, and then head back in. She's got to carry them through this mid-game portion.
Now the bridge buffs have been attained. Magic Shoe picking up that casting buff. Vitality going the way of FACQ on this Mina. So, at bridge buffs 1 apiece, things will kind of start to reset. You see, just the first couple of ultimates coming online. Koven and the Silver has had it for a good while now.
Yeah.
Lycan Curse already been popped once or twice on screen. Cooper now as well with the Itani Losan can be able to finish off low health targets in that mid lane, so you gotta be that little bit extra careful if you are the Mina or the Yamato. And this left side, you've said we haven't talked about it a whole lot because it feels like all the battle's been elsewhere, but yeah, you've got the support and the carry over here for Friendship Eternal, and they're just looking to keep that Venator farmed against the Pocket and the Abrams, who might look for some of that burst damage. So as things go on over there, Magic Shoe risking losing the casting buff here, gets bullet up. Might be able to finish off the silver, but the frozen shelter comes in time, and it's a 2v1 against the Ivy.
Ooh, they were trying to catch the Geist, but they caught a Gargoyle instead. Lady Geist doing a save your friend syndrome kind of opportunity to casting buff, still blessing them. The Guardian doing their namesake and helping them stay alive. They will sacrifice the Pinecone, but at least the Lady Geist lives across the map. I believe that the Venator did go down. Goonfather sent to the grave for just a moment.
Now, but he'll be back fairly quickly, as we do have the zipline boost coming in. And now more ultimates online, most of the board getting up to them. Pinecone just a little bit behind from that death, but he's still going to have it here in just a couple hundred souls. We might start to see even more rotations come out with that airdrop. So, as things stand, it's been a pretty bloodthirsty early game, but not a whole lot of Guardian pressure or even soul advantage accumulated off of it. These teams still everything to play for.
Yeah, wonderful observation. I'm looking at the Guardian health and everything. Everybody's still pretty healthy, you know, just some tick damage here and there. About 1 minute till the Sinners arrive on the Cursed Apple. And this is, the Apollo in trouble. A power slash will hit him right in the base. And now the Ivy is here to help the Stone Form to smack right in. But it's a great Shadow Transformation to dodge. But it's a 2v1 situation. Dynamo doesn't know which way to go. And it will be the Samurai to fall. The battle continues onward. Mina with the Glock in hand, looking for some juicy target to bite, but everybody runs and hides. What? The Singularity at this moment snatches up two, and the barrage, like a salvo of missiles, secures the kill.
Very aggressive from Dynamo there. He was already afflicted and not a whole lot of help to finish off those kills. FACQ will manage to find Pinecone, but that's going to be about all you can find here for Friendship Eternal. It's going to be, in the end, about a 3-for-2 in favor of Shiverme Timbers. So, while all that was going on, there was some good tower pressure coming in here on this left side for the Venator, who now has to contend with the Apollo, but a little bit of soul advantage gained there as we come into the 8-minute mark, and you're going to see Friendship Eternal try and pressure some of these centers, I expect, to make use of the low health bars on Shiverme Timbers.
Something I was curious about, Soren, is how are they going to unlock the Pocket or the Abrams from that lane? Because they are both very good gankers. They have different options to do so, whether it's a stun lock or it's just spirit amplification, what have you. And I think they've elected to allow the Abrams there to farm, kind of be their position 2, if you will, and then have this Pocket rotate and do the spirit damage that they're known for. So we're going to see Nyack get involved early. We did see that in the mid lane, and there's the shoulder charge onto the Goonfather. Once again, a kick to the grave from the Apollo, and there's the M1 down.
Nicely done, and you're going to get Guardian pressure here as well. Nobody from Friendship Eternal is really here to contest that. Their focus is more toward that mid lane, and Mina just staying in the farm. But you saw the build there for Nyack actually was a little bit interesting. No survivability early whatsoever, and that means here in the dome he's going to be very vulnerable. Lots of damage with that all-spirit items, the 4.8k spike online. No health, just relying on that mobility that Pocket has to be able to escape, and it looks like that's going to be enough for now.
Whew. I mean, I wouldn't play that way with the negative spirit resist you start with going up against the Calvin grenades. It's going to be huge. The rejuvenation aura trying to keep the silver alive, but she will already had 1 foot in the grave. It will be a 1-for-1 trade. This mid lane is where all the action is.
Yeah, those Guardians are extra impactful as you get more access to the farm, and that mid shop just very nice to be able to recuperate, get your items there instead of having to go all the way to the secret shops or to base. Bit of something developing on the left side as Venator is getting dove on by the Geist, but there's plenty of Friendship Eternal members there to help out. And so Magic Shoe in a bit of trouble despite having the life swap. You see everybody just trying to play hideaway from the Geist to avoid getting shot there. Grenade does a bit of damage, but will stay alive with that Radiant Regeneration. Just everybody... You go first. You go first. I don't want to get life swapped.
And the Abrams will oblige. They go charging in the seismic impact, actually, just to get away. Maybe creating some space for the Lady Geist. Yes, she will slide her way to safety. But these teams are gathering because the 10-minute earn the first is now available. I was in a session with Pure Content yesterday and said their statistician mentioned 78% of teams win if they get the first earn. So incredibly instrumental to victory is that neutral objective, the quantum entanglement, to escape the leaping frogs. And that is good for Dia. Won't cleanse anything just yet, but gets out of dodge.
At least avoids taking all that damage, though. So FACQ goes down in the mid lane, and that's a nice bag given over to the position 1 of Shiverme Timbers. There's a lot of hanging around on this left side But the battle is over here for the right Walker, and Cooper under a lot of pressure, but about to take down this Yamato, just 1 HP with no Shadow Transformation available, being healed up by the Kelvin. Cooper's done so much work in this early game, trying to get something more done, but there's only so much a solo Apollo can do, and so Sinclair has to come in, lands a nice Vexing Bolt there to take down Hefty Bug. And they'll continue the battle for this as the urn gets deposited. It's only traded out for a Guardian.
You'll definitely take that. Guardian should be down by the 10-minute mark. Anyway, the singularity, but where's the follow-up? The Mina is here to slide to the rescue of the professors, but I mean, she was just maybe not in the right position. The Lady Dice standing tall throughout it all, utilizing the soul exchange to make sure the Mina can't be in this fight now. They're chasing down the Scholar. He's got nowhere to run, but somewhere to hide, and that's under the Walker. On the flip side of the map, the Frozen Shelter put to use here to keep this Abrams at bay. This Guardian rather is under the gun. Will be going down short.
And the Bola misses for Silver as well, so there's no follow-up punish available for Friendship Eternal. And that's a couple of trades now that have started to go against them, and we called out they had a strong early game. The Silver and Kelvin especially were doing good work, but now they're down by about 9,000, 10,000 souls, and it just seems like Shiverme Timbers are constantly on the map forcing the issue, and they're just a couple seconds ahead on each of these rotations, and that's giving them the margins consistently.
Soren, we talk about this all the time. Yes, there's the theory, right, of like, okay, they've got early game, but it's all still mechanics. You still have to be able to pilot your character, make good team decisions in terms of the macro game, communicate your numbers. I've seen 3 here. Okay, that means we can rotate here, whatever it is. And so Shiverme Timbers, they are looking good in that regard. They've been playing together for a long time, this squad, so they know what that communication means. The teams are grouping up. It looks like in the mid lane we might have another scuffle.
Could be a couple numbers here, but there's not really anything to fight for, and so instead, Shiverme Timbers going to look on this right side. The Etani Losan comes in trying to catch out Kelvin, but now just at 1 HP with backup. The Kelvin comes in, drops a healing grenade, and that'll keep him alive for now. Hefty Bug as well, coming in, trying to save that Silver, and still managed to get out successfully. And now the copy Dynamo ult comes in. Singularity! Not much damage there. Dio stays alive. Alfie low HP. The Kelvin will finally go down, and Shiverme Timbers are looking to make this an even bigger fight. Try and get onto this Walker as the left side split push is also coming to fruition. Things not working out quite yet, but they've got a lot of members low. Friendship Eternal slowly dropping, and there's no support in this fight for them. So no way to get back up there, and they'll be traded out for Tetsio, but that's about all you're gonna find.
Wow! Okay, Sword, you said there's nothing to fight for, but it's you fight for fun, you fight maybe to try to get the Walker, but the Bounty Hunter on the chase, the Magician in her sights, looking to chomp down. Yes, gets 1, gets 2, but this Magician is so dang fast, so shifty, trying to out-dodge this Lycan. Can they get the final blow? No, the assistant there to make a magical escape.
Teleporting back and forth with Magician. It's about the most Scooby-Doo escape you can get, but will go down in the end, Matt. Only so many swaps available, but yeah, you see the chase down and how hard it can be to do that onto a slippery hero like Sinclair. Something that we're seeing that we called out a decent bit over the weekend is Restorative Locket in this meta. I think we've seen 3 of them picked up so far. Just taking a quick look across the board. I see
1?
I think I see 2. I see Silver and Apollo. And then there was 1 more in the queue for somebody. I don't remember. Anyway, this item has been popping up just as more stamina regen, essentially, but better. As you just keep getting more and more of it. But that won't help you a whole lot in a Kelvin Dome.
Uh-oh, you're locked in here with me, buddy, and the Abrams will fall because of it. The Ivy trying to make another grand escape, but the reinforcements are here, but buying Cone, not enough sustain to survive, and they must now get out before the Silver claims another victim.
But at least the person who got caught there wasn't your Geist. Your Geist up to 18k now, able to take that side lane, and I mean, Venator feels the pressure so much that he just backs off, doesn't even opt for the 1v1 with the Geist. So if you're Shiverme Timbers, you're at least saying, all right, we've got our side lane carry just off there doing her own thing, and we haven't given that up yet. On the other side, Friendship Eternal, your strongest source of souls at the moment is the Yamato, and while that's maybe not as good as someone like the Geist, you've at least got your Yamato ahead. Yamato, a hero who typically struggles from behind, and so some of these fights might be a little bit more possible. Gonna have to see if they can make it work in this one.
looking to get the urn and bring it across the map. It was the Silver who was the courier, but they had to drop that as the Abrams had found them out. Now we're brawling in the streets in earnest, folks. Disengaging Sigil from the Apollo to push everybody away. This Walker under scrutiny once more. They are locked into it. After exchange of blows, everybody backs off, but when the dust settles, the Dynamo comes away with the goods.
You really needed this if you're Friendship Eternal. If you fall behind early and you get that comeback earn at 15 minutes, you have to deliver that, because if you don't, your comeback options are very limited. Shiverme Timbers trying to create some pressure to at least make use of that map pressure, but they're just managing to escape from the catch here from Friendship Eternal and Apollo. A lot of mobility options might be caught here. Coast just trying to get away, won't be able to get away from Hefty Bugs, but they have taken down most of that mid walker and will get all the way down on that right side walker. So Shiverme Timbers at least finding something in exchange for the urn.
The singularity in a desperate situation is the Professor. Only 2 members here of the Archmother's side, and they are swiftly dealt with, but they got what they were looking for. That walker at the 16-minute mark was their target, their prize. They secure it nice.
And Friendship Eternal have over-rotated for this. Matt is on the mid lane, going to take down that mid walker as well, and so that'll be 3 walkers to 0 for Shiverme Timbers when all this is said and done. Friendship Eternal, okay.
What?
You've lost all your walkers, you've lost all your map space, but they might be able to get mid-boss off of it. No Singularity, just the Frozen Shelter. We're gonna have to see if Sinclair can come in with a bunny and make a hero play.
Oh, but he has the audience participation. If he gets another Singularity, that would be crazy. They're gonna maybe potentially go for it. The Seismic Impact is available. And see how contentious they go. And the bunny gets in 2, and it will be the Singularity to lock everybody down. The Rejuvenators all go the way of Shiverme Timbers, and they leave them promptly. Actually, 1 utilized from the Goonfather. He'll be back in the fight immediately, and everybody squished into the dirt. But it will be the Shiverme Timbers with the counterplay.
Kind of an early desperation move here from Friendship Eternal, and it has not worked out in their favor at all. They were looking to use some of that pressure from Shiverme Timbers taking the walkers, but there just wasn't enough of it. Your waves were not good there, so an easy zip over from the base, from the side lanes for Shiverme Timbers, and they take that fight very cleanly. While you're only up about 10,000 here for SMT, you've got all the walkers down, you've got all the map space in the world to be able to take this farm. And Geist pushed up here practically to the enemy spawn room. That's how confident Shiverme Timbers are.
If I'm Friendship Eternal, I'm quaking in my boots just a tad, because they wiped us and then wiped 3 more of us as we revived, and we didn't kill a single person, I don't think. So, yeah, when you're in the pit, you got caught, and they just didn't have the ultimates to do it. If you make a call like that, you have to need a backup plan. You need your plan B to say, okay, if they do come in, we can Frozen Shelter, we can do this, we can do that. And either they just got bursted too quickly, or they just didn't have them up. But that Singularity from the Sinclair, just instrumental in that fight win.
Absolutely was. And Matt has done a good job with those all game so far. It's very critical. You need your Sinclair to be active, to be making use of the Rabbit Hex and the audience participation. And so far, Matt's done a good job of that. Let's take a look at the kills across the board. Right now, this Venator kind of struggling in that department. 5 deaths and no kills, but at least is ahead on souls. Tying Magic Shoe up there at the top of the lobby at 21,000. So you've got at least someone who can carry you on if you can stay even in the next 10 minutes or so. But it's Shiverme Timbers' game to carry right now, as they've got the tempo, they've got the ability to pressure the map however they like. They just need to keep it ahead because, I mean, as we were saying, this late game team fight from Friendship Eternal is very dangerous. So Shiverme Timbers at least need to be making a plan for that, showing that they've got the tools to recognize the matchup and carry it through.
Soren, there's going to be a team fight on our hands shortly as the 20-minute urn will arrive, and they think they might not have the Singularity in time, so that's got to be their key tool, unless you can do the Frozen Shelter into the Lycan's Curse. But I feel like Coven is too far behind to really make too much use of that, especially with how beefy some of the characters are. So it might be challenging. How do they engage in this next fight?
You're going to need a good Frozen Shelter, whether it's comboed with the Lycan Curse or not. That is a big tool for success here for Friendship Eternal. And you also need Goonfather to be active, right?
Yeah.
You are not ahead enough that you can afford to have your carry out of the fight. You see him here up on the rooftops looking for something. As Shiverme Timbers will use the airdrop just looking around for an engagement. Kelvin picks up the urn, and now Shiverme Timbers hit the go button.
Uh-oh, the airdrop silences for the follow-up. Is it there? Yes, the infliction splats onto everybody. A great duo of ultimates, and oh my word, the chase down is on. The frozen shelters just barely healing anybody. Coven didn't even stand a chance, and the Calvin just shoved into a locker and taken down the Tiny Low Sun just for the cherry on top, and oh my goodness, what a wipe.
And while the mid-boss earlier put them slightly ahead, I feel like this is the backbreaker for Friendship Eternal. Shiverme Timbers take the urn. It's a comeback urn for Friendship Eternal, but Shiverme Timbers delivering it, that's not going to matter a whole lot. You get 4 kills on top, and so this is about to be 25-plus soul lead for Shiverme Timbers. It's looking difficult. We said that they needed the early tempo, and they've certainly got it at the moment.
And the Lady Geist, the Magic Shoe, was on this lane 3 the entire time, making sure the wave was up. So if they did win the fight, they could run in the urn. The tragic part about that previous engagement, Soren, is they still didn't get any exit kills, Friendship Eternal, because they were running away instead of like, maybe we've got to turn and fight and see what we can do. And because they're on the back foot, then it's just Shiverme Timbers can engage freely. So it's challenging for them. I feel like they've always been on the defensive. I need to see some aggression, but at this point, they might be too far behind to even do just that.
Absolutely right. When you're behind, it feels counterintuitive, but you've got to stay aggressive. You've got to keep making plays. Otherwise, you just kind of give the enemy, free reign to dominate your space and choose the fights that they want. You've got to almost play more aggressive when you're behind than when you're ahead, and so that kind of creates this game of cat and mouse between the two teams. And right now, Shiverme Timbers are effectively playing the cat in each engagement that we see. That last one was mostly won off the back of the affliction from Nyack, who's been instrumental so far on this pocket. So, great resource management from Shiverme Timbers about when they can take these team fights. And the airdrop providing so much utility getting around the map as well for Pinecone.
And we've been seeing a lot more of this, like, engage with the airdrop, right? It's not just like, okay, let me clear a wave. People are going full throttle with it to start off the team fights, as we saw from Pinecone early on. Now, fans, Soren did say, play with some aggression when you're behind, but that doesn't mean it down solo mid by yourself, right? It's about being tactful about what you need to do to get your souls online. But Mina caught in an awkward spot. Fortunately, the Nox Nostra didn't land onto him. The Exsanguine retreat to try to escape, but 3 members to hunt them down and obliterated in an instant is the Vampiress. The Save Your Friend syndrome in full effect as 2 members here trying to get their carry out. The Yamato will slice their way through. Tiny Low Sun still active, but they may not even need it. Alfie put 6 feet under the yellow. The Amber team is just falling. The Hidden King squad in shambles.
Mid-boss will be up very shortly. Shiverme Timbers likely to take it off of this fight, and might not have been a game-saving play, but still really cool. The Apollo there, Cooper, reposted the Singularity from Dio, and I didn't even know that was possible, but he did it, and so now we all know. And that was the only person that Singularity was targeting, so get him away scot-free, taking down a multi-minute cooldown from the Dynamo. I mean, that's just really cool. Goonfather has been over here on the Venator, taking down a Walker and getting onto these base guardians, so at least creating some kind of pressure for Shiverme Timbers to have to answer, but this is not the state of the game you want to be in, where you're pressuring base guardians instead of going to the team fight just to try and do something.
Okay, but he can't die here, Goon. He may have stayed a tad longer than he should have. He's going 1v1 against this Abrams, but the Torment Pulse is just pestering him. He cannot escape the shoulder charge. The gut shot, it does get him the stake into the back, but this is not a vampire. He's a demon in the streets. The 1v1 goes the way of the Abrams. Another riposte to reflect it right back at you, Kirby style, and it will be a bunny instead of a wolf. The Tiny Low San will cut through the battlefield, but Afflicted is the silver. She is poisoned, and she needs some hair of the dog to get out of this one.
They did at least take down the Magic Shoe. Guy's not in this fight, and not up for the mid-boss either, which is about to come online, but, I mean, neither's your Venator, so kind of an even trade here, and the rest of Shiverme Timbers are well ahead of the rest of Friendship Eternal, so they're going to be confident taking this one in, especially with Singularity used in that last engagement, and all of the tools for Shiverme Timbers still up. Like, contesting this, it feels like walking into the firing line, but it's what you have to do. Again, you can't just stay passive and let the enemy team walk over you when they've got a soul lead. So Shiverme Timbers are going to make you walk into that firing line. They're well enough ahead. They know what they need to do to push this on.
they're forcing the fights, and so will Friendship Eternal oblige them? It doesn't look like it, but it doesn't matter anyway. Shiverme Timbers right over the top. It's an airdrop of epic proportion. The urn picked up from Dio all the way on the other side of the map, but what is he gonna do with it? The engage kind of peters out. That Shiverme Timbers just kind of bullying all across the map, and back to the Boogerman they go.
Yeah, now you've got your 6th member up as well. You're just going to rip this in a 6v6. Geist's actually not here, so potential opportunity for Friendship Eternal, but your Dynamo's not here either. There's so many stuns for Shiverme Timbers starting to come out. No regions captured yet. Friendship Eternal managed to take all 3!
What?
And the Frozen Shelter comes down. I don't know if this is Matt's or Alfie's, but either way, a lot of healing coming in, and Matt will go down. Now come back in the cards for Friendship Eternal. 3 rejuves now expended, but exchanged for 2 lives on the side of Shiverme Timbers. Your Geist, again, late to this fight, but she's now shown up, starting to dish out the damage, but it's too late as Tetsuya will fall, and Friendship Eternal actually managed to swing this one around.
At last, Friendship Eternal show some fight. Sword, you mentioned that the late game is their time to shine. And wow, a beacon in the night when they surely needed it. But it is the Sword, the Fencer, who is sore after that engagement, will go down. 4 eliminated for the side of Shiverme Timbers, but they do get all the rejuves away from Friendship Eternal. They're looking at this mid lane walker now.
I mean, taking away the rejuves from Friendship Eternal, you were the ones looking to get the rejuves in that fight.
True.
Like, that is disastrous for Shiverme Timbers. Man, you're gonna want that fight back. But Friendship Eternal, now this is your time to shine. You've got Goonfather on 33,000. He's stayed competitive with the top of the lobby this entire time, and now that the rest of your team is starting to catch up, this is the time to do it. So you might be at 0-7 right now, but this is, as you said, this is their time to shine with this Venator and the Silver and the Kelvin all having such utility in these fights. They're taking as much space on the map as they can. They've got the walker count evened up, so they're able to use all these flex slots efficiently. The Soul lead, as you see, just now starting to come back as well to even. And now I think this next urn could be the fight that really shakes things up and brings things over, not just even, but in favor of Friendship Eternal, if they can manage it well.
Oh my goodness, that love bite just chopped through the gargoyle. I thought, you know, some of those scales would prevent some damage, but not the case. The Boundless Spirit is doing so much work for this Mina. I was curious if she was just going to be an alt bot at this point, Soren, right? Just dive in, try to silence everybody so the Singularity can come through, be really impactful. But no, it's like, no, I'm still here, Philly. I've got some damage that everybody needs to know about. But Refresher online here for Alfie. That is a scary item to behold.
And queued up, you see the Divine Barrier. Nyack has been such a problem on the pocket so far that if you can cleanse these afflictions, you're going to feel a lot better in these team fights. So yeah. I really want to see 1 or 2 more members of Friendship Eternal pick up that item as well, because he's done such a good job getting it onto 3 or 4 of your members that just one Divine Barrier might not cut it. You see a couple other of these items coming online. Dio with the Unstoppable. Just make sure you keep that Singularity going. And all 12 ultimates are going to be available for this urn fight here in about 1.5 minutes. Until then, mostly just cleaning up the farm on both sides of the map. I actually missed it. I think I called earlier that all the walkers were down. That left side one is still standing for Shiverme Timbers. So a flex slot advantage at least still in their grasp.
Either way, Soren, this next engagement, whether it's over the urn, whether it's over that walker, is going to be electric, folks. So make sure you hold on to your seats with all these ultimates on the board. We're seeing the Unstoppable for Matt as well, because he's been going for that Singularity pretty much 9 times out of 10. Wants to make sure the full duration goes off. But as we scale further into this match, we're reaching that late game portion. Nyack on this pocket, their impact kind of peters off because people are itemizing against you, right? They have Spellbreaker, Dispel Magic, Divine Barrier, whatever. It just, there's so many things to get rid of what you're trying to do. Is his time up, or you think he can still make an impact in this game?
It's starting to peter out, as you were saying, but he's still got plenty of damage in the tank. Pocket's spike in the game comes about between the times that you max Affliction and people start picking up a lot of Divine Barriers. So if you're in a pub match, that might be till the end of the game because nobody buys counter items. But here in the Deathslam League Premier Division, we've got at least a couple people aware of that and starting to pick it up. So I mean, we saw it next in queue for Alfie. It's going to be the next couple of minutes where Pocket starts to fall up, but even without the Affliction, he's still got a decent amount of damage at 33,000 souls. So look for him to have impact in these fights as, man, Friendship Eternal are going to get complete pillar control here, looking for this urn.
The power of friendship indeed. I love it. And all 12 members of the server crowding this urn spot. It will be the flawless advance to move forward, but maybe the airdrop, has the bomb been launched? It looks like it. And that is total control. For the Shiverme Timbers, I thought the pillar control had gone for Friendship Eternal, but they back off. That's another defensive play from them.
Yeah, I'm not sure what called that retreat. Maybe they were scared of that affliction, as we were saying, but I mean, you got Frozen Shelter, you got Singularity up, and the call comes to, hey, let's just fight this at the urn drop-off maybe, but the lane has been shoved in so far on this right side, they may not get a chance.
They're late to this, and so now they're on the back foot. They have the high ground like Obi-Wan Kenobi, the flawless advance, and the urn score for a touchdown. All the souls go in the way of Shiverme Timbers, and once again, the retreat horns sound for Friendship Eternal. They do not want to fight at all.
That one, at least, I understand. The enemy's got the urn. You've only got 4 or 5 members available, but I'd love to be able to watch that back, honestly, to see why they backed off on that left side, because that seemed like an odd call to me, and it's netted Shiverme Timbers here. I think at this point the urn is worth close to 8,000 souls. So split that up among everybody, and that's at least about a tier 2 item each that they'll be able to get, and that much closer to their tier 4s. You see the Divine Barrier now picked up for Alfie. That'll be very useful, but only once Friendship Eternal actually find a fight that they like. It could be this mid-boss.
Soren, this is now the tug of war, the push and pull of MOBAs, right? It's where how you move the waves back and forth. The Lady Geist, though, in a 2v1, making a 3v1, and the Soul Exchange perfectly timed, silencing everybody across the battlefield. And Hefty Bug put 6 feet deep. Fax will follow him thereafter, and oh my gosh, the turnaround. It was all just a bait and switch from Shiverme Timbers. They take down 3.
It was a risky bait because Magic Shoe was under the Nox Nostra from Mina. Must have found some kind of window in there where they weren't getting hit by bats to be able to get off that Soul Exchange, but a great fight plan there from Friendship Eternal. The execution just not quite there. Silenced for only, or unsilenced for just 0.1 seconds. That's all the guy needs to be able to flip a fight on its head, so I mean, I guess that's why Friendship Eternal haven't been wanting to fight, because as soon as we take one, it's Shiverme Timbers who get it, but yeah, just unfortunate there that the guys was able to pop that ultimate and the rest of Shiverme Timbers come in to clean it up. This is now the second mid-boss going their way, and I mean, at this point, you gotta hope for another miracle fight like you had earlier for Friendship Eternal.
They have all the ultimates to do it. That's at least the silver lining, right? Their ultimates are either they didn't use them or have a low enough cooldown to be available for this final base defense, and they really don't have many base guardians to help them out, so it's really going to be on their own laurels to get this thing done. But man, it's been a slight back and forth affair, at least in this late game, but the refresher from the Dynamo, that's like, okay, it's got to be clean, but they might be caught out before they have a chance to use it. All the way into the fountain they go, just to create some space for the base guardian and the shrines to be splintered. Oh my goodness, this base is just ransacked, Soren. But now it's a Singularity, vacuums up 3. Where's the follow-up damage? I'm not seeing any health bars. The Frozen Shelter, though, laid down to keep everybody up, and there is the double, but it only gets onto 1. No, Dio, you done did it. And he's going down after that. Everything expended from the Professor. On the outskirts, though, the ultimate has been copied. The Singularity waiting in the wings for the Magician. He unleashes it here as the final Hidden King is going down too. Eliminated, put 6 feet deep. Everybody on the Hidden King dead.
There you go. That's the game, and it's off of the back of a massive affliction from Nyack. Pulling that in there at the last second, and Alfie not even able to pop the dome to get to try and heal people up through it, as he'd already used it earlier in the fight. And Dio, if Singularity is just not able to find value in that fight, although Matt certainly did. So Shiverme Timbers, after a very scary second mid-boss, are at least able to close things out here, even if it's a bit later than they might have liked.
What a wonderful, last base fight. That was so exciting. Just a great angle from Kashi, who's our producer and observer today, pulling double duty for this special production of Deathslam League. But Dio, he had 2 opportunities to get the Singularity. The second one just, I think, was getting the Ivy. It was just swimming in the ether, but nobody cared about the Ivy, and there was basically nothing happening. But the double Singularity, or the Singularity from Matt, just so huge. If he's not a key player or MVP, I would be pissed. And look at this guy, 27 assists.
There you go. Certainly a lot of impactful plays in the mid-boss pit, stealing ultimates, getting the bunnies at the right times. Matt on the Sinclair showing why this hero is coming back into the meta. I did also like this pocket play from Nyack. A lot of impactful moments, as we were saying, and that set up the rest of the team to have a really good fight afterwards. So Shiverme Timbers in the more supportive roles, really showing us how it's done here on the DSL broadcast. Heptibug on the other side, this Yamato put in a lot of work. You see them tied for the top kills in the lobby with the winning team, which is an impressive stat on its own. 37k player damage as well, close to the top, only pocket feeding him out, and, well, affliction, fake damage you can say, but coming in there, Shiverme Timbers execute their game plan with only really one big speed bump. Aside from that, it was smooth sailing all throughout.
Yeah. And, Soren, ever since you've coined the constellation term, I've yet to see it in all of our matches that we have casted on stream. It's now elusive, and now I'm always looking to the sky like, please, where the stars align, and nobody has obliged me yet. But what a fantastic game one that was between these squads. We're rolling right into it. No commercial breaks, no nothing. We get to go right into game two because this is a replay from week number one. But will there be an adjustment here from Friendship Eternal? Do they need to shore up one part of their game?
I don't know that it was any one part that they really fell apart at. It was just kind of a loss of tempo around that first earn mark. They fell behind by just a couple of picks, and then it was a big fight that didn't go their way. Then it was that risky first mid-boss call where things really fell apart for them, and I think it was just maybe bad fight planning, if anything else. Not so much a comp issue, just like teamwork. We saw a couple of occasions where the timing was a little bit off with the Dynamo. One moment in particular stands out to me where I believe the Singularity was used to try and deny the life swap from Geist, but the Mina just wasn't on the same page and couldn't get in the burst damage while she was stunned, and so got life swapped and things flipped around for Shiverme Timbers. So a couple of occasions where impactful Geist ults, or just like the mental planning of where everybody needs to be for these engagements wasn't quite there, and so that's maybe some of the experience factor showing in the favor of Shiverme Timbers, who've been in the DSL for over twice as long as Friendship Eternal, so the veterancy coming out here.
Make sure you ditch that solo queue, folks, right? Join Death Slam so you can play the Death Slam League, get that experience. You can go to the Discord, put that in the chat, and join today. I'm sure everybody's watching, especially midday or mid-evening, whatever, is probably already in there. So we appreciate you, fans. But that's where that experience comes from. And that's where the where you go 3, 2, 1, boom, or this person's won, or this ultimate is down, or I'm bringing numbers here. That's where these communications are truly instrumental to victory. Well, Soren, I think it's time for game number 2. Let's see what Friendship Eternal has as we head into the draft.
All right, and you're going to see if Friendship Eternal want to stick with the Celeste ban or maybe change things up based on what they saw in game 1. I feel like Mirage is going to be... Okay, never mind. I eat my words that I was about to say. Mirage is not the ban here for Shiverme Timbers. They're going to deny the Geist, at least. And Friendship Eternal, I believe, as the losing team, chose to go second here. We'll see exactly why that is, I expect, when we get to their double pick.
The Lady Geist makes sense. I know Shiverme Timbers, they played it, but now that since their first pick, they should have banned something else, then maybe force them to ban the Lady Geist so that they could get the Celeste. There's some of that mind game kind of portion there, but okay, for now, I feel like the Celeste is taken off because it's really hard to lock her down, and because of that, the Mirage will make it through. Soren, what makes this guy stand out so much?
It's kind of just that he does everything, honestly. He's got insane burst potential from a distance. He's got the escape, the Dust Devil. He's got on the macro presence with the Traveler, right? Is so much. You see him get around the map, and if you guys have maybe overcommitted onto one side, well, suddenly you got an ultimate to be able to bail you out, kind of similarly to what we saw the Ivy do a few times in game 1. I think Shiverme Timbers banned out the Geist, hoping to force Friendship Eternal to ban the Mirage, because that's what they did in game 1, right? They banned the Mirage as the second pick, hoping, just making sure that Friendship Eternal couldn't grab that one. So instead, they'll get the Venator and the Silver, which is a nice 1-2 combo as well. If Shiverme Timbers aren't going to ban away the Venator, they might as well pick it up instead. It certainly was a bright spot for them last game. But speaking of bright spots, Pocket back in the game for SMT.
The Venator Silver was kind of their opener last time, right? So it's not too much of an adjustment for them at this juncture. And the Pocket worked incredibly well in some of these team fight engagements, had the most player damage in that previous one, so on and so forth. So, and I do want to because NA we're more carry focused, right? We want to be like the guy that always gets all the kills and does all the stuff. This Mirage versus this Venator, let's say all things considered, there may be 1v1 and what have you. Souls are the same. Who comes out in this fight? I feel like the Venator might have it, but the Mirage so shifty.
Yeah, it's tough to say because it kind of depends on who's able to land more of their skills. Like, if you've got Mirage with the Arcane Surge Beetle and you get some good Gen Mark stacks, then you might come out on top, but if the Venator, hits a trap or something like that, it really just depends, honestly, on what happens. I do think Venator scales a little bit better when we get to the ultra late game. Sure. So if we see things go 35, 40 minutes, Venator probably with more teamfight utility with just the sustained damage, whereas Mirage might have to pick up the Ricochet and some other items to adjust his build. But early on, I certainly think the Mirage has a better early game, and especially in lanes, you'll see him do a bit more than the Venator. So Friendship Eternal, picking up mostly the same top three. They'll switch out the Kelvin for the Dynamo in terms of priority, and banning away the Sinclair, I think, is a very smart move when you pick up the Dynamo.
I mean, when it comes to draft strategy, you have to do that. If you're planning on playing Dynamo, you have to get rid of the Sinclair. Otherwise, you're giving the other team a singularity, and you just cannot do that, right? And so that makes a lot of sense for me. As we go to the other side for Shiverme Timbers, what would the ban be? They go for the Yamato, more targeted pick. Yes, she had a ton of player damage, but was that really giving them that much worry? I mean, could there have been a better ban? Doesn't really matter now at this point, but the Yamato no longer on the board. What are we looking for next year from these teams, Soren?
I think it's going to be more of the same. Friendship Eternal could choose to run back the Kelvin. It certainly had some bright spots for them in Game 1.
Sure.
Down their Yamato, I think you might look for a Lash here for a Hefty Bug. Be a little bit more of that team fight. Lash Dynamo. Kind of classic ultimate combination, the Death Slam into the Singularity. So see if Friendship Eternal opt for that, as they do have the next pick. But on the side of Shiverme Timbers, might be looking just for a bit more utility, or I guess not even utility, because you've got the Ivy in pocket for all of that, but like more beefiness in the front line.
That's what I was about to say.
The Abrams that Friendship Eternal had, right? Yeah. Even though you've got the Infernus that you're now working against, you still need someone who's able to stand up to this Silver Inventor.
No one's killing me.
I was going to say the Abrams would be my choice, especially how good they looked on it in the previous one. That was Tetsuo on the Blue Detective. So this draft looking very similar, just their M1 is a tad different. We'll see if the escapability of the Mirage versus the durability of the Geist will be the difference for the Shiverme Timbers to take this game away. We have one more pick for the Shiverme Timbers. The Shiv now. Yes, it wasn't banned. Now it's unleashed. I could be more excited.
Yeah, second frontliner for them. Something that we did notice before the broadcast, because of course this is a recording, Tetsuo is actually subbed out for this game, and it'll be Takoa instead. So this Abrams, I'm not even really seeing who this might be on for Shiverme Timbers, but I assume that they've got a plan for it if they picked it, so at least won't doubt them there. But it might not be the same explosive game that we saw from Tetsuo in that early mid-game. And for Friendship Eternal, in place of that frontline, they'll grab a Mo and Krill.
Yeah, he's beefy. One of my favorite characters, but he can be also squishy at the same time, especially if you're going against a Mirage and a Pocket. We've been seeing a lot of Mo Krill maybe in the mid lane here to just provide some of that pick potential. So we will see where that goes. And also, Soren, spoilers, we showed the draft, or we showed the lineups after the draft. Now everybody knows there's a substitute. There's no surprise anymore, man. Bebop though, Soren, will round us out here, friend.
Yeah, the Mo and Krill, I think, is a target pick against the Pocket. We saw a couple of escapes from Pocket and from Ivy as well, and Mo and Krill could kind of help lock down some of those heroes. Bebop is interesting, and we've seen kind of the return of Gun Bebop for a lot of teams, and so we'll see if Friendship Eternal are able to pick that up. I believe that's going to be, could be Dio, but he was their Dynamo player in Game 1, so it could be another hero who I'm not aware of. But yeah, this should be an interesting one here for Friendship Eternal. They've got a lot of burst potential and catch with what they've got, but Shiverme Timbers are going to be difficult to burst down, and they've got a lot of teamfight utility as well. Warden being picked up kind of plays into both narratives, right? He's someone who can get picked off if he's not aware of what's going on around him, but also if you come in with that M1 damage, you can really contest someone like the Venator, or just burst down some of these squishier heroes like the Bebop or the Mo and Krill. So we'll have to see how Shiverme Timbers choose to play that. If that's going to be their choice of farm and play Mirage Morris in early game, or switch things around and have 2 M1 carries.
I like this Warden as the last pick. Really helps their team fight capability. If they want to go in the pit, they have the last stand. It can kind of be on the outskirts and absorb everybody. And then the lane phase, this binding word max that we've been seeing for some folks is really locking a lot of these mobile characters down. And been playing a lot in the mid lane is the Warden, flasking people and things of that nature. So I think this is a fine overall pick. They've prioritized the police officer well. Soren, before we go into the rosters, I need just, who do you think you've got in this game number 2?
Looking at the comps, it's pretty close. I love Friendship Eternal's like top 4, but then Mo and Krill Bebop is so much dependent on individual performance that I can't really rate them highly without seeing how they perform on those 2, given that they weren't present in game 1. So Shiverme Timbers, I feel like just given off what we saw before, they know how to play all of these heroes to a pretty good degree. So I'd love to see a repeat performance from them in game 2.
Okay, well, chat, let us know who you've got as we take a look at the rosters, and we will see Takoa substituting in, and they'll be piloting the Shiv.
Yeah, there you go, and it'll be Cooper instead on this Abrams. So instead of the Apollo going for a different beefy frontliner sort of dive character. Other than that, a lot of repeats. We see Pinecone on the Ivy, Nyack repeating on the Pocket. Magic Shoe instead of the Geist will be on this Mirage, and Matt, I mean, we saw him on Sinclair last game, but that's a little bit outside of his normal hero pool. We see him a lot on these carry heroes such as the Warden, so should be, I mean, last game looked plenty comfortable enough, but going to be even more dangerous on a hero that he's more familiar with.
Makes sense to me. As we transitioned over to Friendship Eternal, we were wondering who was going to pilot the Moan Krill and the Bebop. Well, we have our answers. It'll be Hefty Bug and Alfie, respectively. I mean, it makes sense, right? Those are kind of their position 4 to 6 players, so it's kind of a mix and match in who you need to be. But Alfie on this, it tends to be more, it's probably going to go Max Hook, play more tank Bebop, right? Just try to be a pick character than go in that M1 we've been seeing.
Yeah, could be. We'll just have to see what the game plan is here for Friendship Eternal, as they do now need a bounce back to go into game 3 and try and take their first week of the DSL into a highlight. As this is fairly early in the season, but you want to get off to a good start as we get here and we get to see these lanes.
Well, let's take a look, and I believe this is the mid lane. We are peeping, and we're seeing both of the law enforcement specialists, the Abrams and the Warden, matching up against the Mo and Krill and the Silver. I feel like the Hidden King side might have the upper hand there.
A bit more damage, I think, coming out from them, but that is a beefy mid lane. Normally you see the Spirit Nukers placed there, and instead I think we're just going to see non-stop brawling as you see them clustered together, not backing off in between waves. They're just going at it, and Matt's already fairly low. But here on this left side, we see a similar pairing to before. We got the Venator and the Dynamo against 2 very dangerous early laners there. And we will see the first kill come in as the Ivy comes in.
Wow, just making a quick rotation from lane number 1 and facilitating a double kill for the beefy boys in the mid. And it's the Pocket there by their lonesome. I feel like that's pretty dangerous. He's so squishy in the early game, but has a lot of escapability should he get hooked. But I feel like we might see a lot of rotations from Pinecone throughout this match.
We saw it before, right? The Ivy was constantly on the map being active, and that's what Pinecone likes to do on these more supportive heroes, is just get around. You don't need a whole lot of farm on the Ivy, and so you just make sure everybody else gets theirs. And you said Pocket, kind of dangerous to be left alone, but early on, it's limited ability to pressure as long as you stay safe if you're left there on that solo lane. So now, as the pressure doesn't manage to manifest, Mo and Krill will actually rotate over here to this left side and try to get something going on to Mirage, who's down to half HP.
What? Without the combo, what are you doing, pal? Oh, he gets parried under the Guardian, and will they make pork chops for dinner? Looks like the Mo and Krill will get their quarry. They hunt down the Magic Shoe, but can they get out with their lives? Yes, the Venator sends them away with a prayer, and the Quantum Entanglement to gut shot the Shiv into the woodwork. This Shiv, though, trying to hunt down the next beast on his checklist. Dio will be the bounty eliminated. But still, can they survive? One blade, one parry in desperation, and the Venator will get the kill.
Things work out here in the end for Friendship Eternal, but I mean, the tempo that you lose from Hefty Bug having to go all the way back to spawn before coming to lane. Sure, you're getting your Silver some more gold, or some more souls to be able to come back up, after that early death, but you do lose out on a lot of pressure, and you see that manifesting now as Shiverme Timbers have a tempo to be able to come over here and get the Abrams involved.
Well, what we learned from game one is these teams love to fight, and this time they're going after the Goonfather. They're trying to chase him down, but the Abrams standing tall. The Infernal Resistance doesn't care how much fire he takes. The Bebop just pestering, just shooting, just a little tickle from the back end. But nobody goes down for that. But some pressure put in the lane. Continue to skirmish here. This time it will be Matt who's under the crosshairs. They're just pestering him with everything they got.
And now that it starts to get a little bit further into laning, you get more damage onto these Guardians, more damage for someone being out of position and left on their lone. So these timers get shorter and shorter as Ivy has to come back fairly quickly into that one. And there's a lot of low health bars on either side, so kill potential abounding on the map right now. A good parry onto Magic Shoe means that this counter pressure from the Mirage comes to nothing. And now, again, we talk about these advantages that they have. Just having a good health bar is one of them. And so the tempo from second to second, it feels like it's shifting between these teams.
Your health bar is a resource. That's one you have to manage, and you can't expend willy-nilly, just like your ability cooldowns, your item cooldowns, etc. So they have to keep good tabs on where their HP is at, and Hefty Bug didn't see their HP go into 0 as they are eliminated in the mid lane. Soren, I think we've seen a full-on lane swap. It's Pinecone who has shifted into the mid, and the Abrams, that is Cooper, on the lane 3.
That's kind of dangerous for Cooper. You're going up against an Infernus and a and a Bebop who are more than happy to make use of that large hitbox, and yeah, that'll be Cooper going down. So more ability to get forward on this map and punish the pocket for this right side lane of Friendship Eternal. And we could see some more lane swaps come out here as we come towards the 5-minute mark. People jumping over to those bridge buffs gives them a nice vantage point to be able to get over towards the lane they want to be. It looks like they'll both be split between the teams.
Makes sense. And Sword, you know, you're the mastermind. You're the guy that knows the 1s and 2s of the game, the X's and O's. What is this Shiv looking to do? And I'll let you ponder that as we have another tussle in the mid lane. This is really actually just the Silver getting their mole man out of dodge. But yeah, what is this Shiv going to do? They haven't rotated out of lane just yet, and I feel like that is what their main objective will be.
Yeah, it really depends on how they want to build this, as Alfie just gets dove on here with the airdrop. We've seen some Shivs go for this dash build where you really just look to shred the spirit resistance of everybody in your path and almost let your team do the brunt of the work doing the actual damage. But it could be that, or it could just be the kind of typical knife Shiv that we've seen. You know, get the decay, get all of the stacks onto one person, and hope they don't have Dispel Magic is the main reason you might kind of be wary of going knife Shiv at the moment, because it just does so much damage if they don't have that item.
Well, we are seeing a Mystic regen early on. I feel like that's like a Lady Geist exclusive, but it will be Takoa grabbing that item up. So I'm going to keep my eye on Shiv. I know, Soren, you and I always talk about, like, what is this guy really doing out here? So, you know, I'll be laser focused on the Beast Hunter in some of these fights, and he's getting lasered in on as there is a 3-man rotation going to lane number 1. The combo locks him down. Can they get the stack? Yes, even fatter gets the mole man.
You called it out earlier. What's Moa doing here without a combo? Well, now he's got it, and he's going to make good use of it. Better than a combo from McDonald's, I'll tell you that much, is that combo from from Hefty Bug. So Friendship Eternal will take down the first Guardian. It looks like it might be traded out here in the mid lane, which Moan Krill has left up for grabs. And yeah, that'll be Cooper rotating back to this mid lane to help his Warden take down that Guardian. It's only a temporary lane swap, and now the right side, the only one with 2 Guardians remaining.
Deadlock, such a dynamic game, right? It's not just a static where, like, we're going to be in the lane for 10 minutes and farm up. No, you have to be everywhere. Your head constantly has to be on the swivel. Communications and adjustments on the fly are key. This Guardian taking some damage, but that is what they're there to do. It should be lasting longer than the 10-minute mark anyway. A Sandblast will disarm another airdrop just to provide some barrier for this Abrams and really just crash this wave in to put the Walker under some pressure. Pinecone finding the Bebop in the Denizen Den. Nice hook in, but that's not the big fish that you want, and it will be the pocket to secure the kill, but will go down to the Blazing Goonfather. Seismic impact just for escape.
They were trying to find Goonfather with that airdrop, and they just couldn't do it. He was so far back to the Walker. And now Magic Shoe caught a little bit out of position, but has got that Dust Devil to be able to escape still. And the mid lane Warden under pressure a lot, as there's just skirmishes all around the map with these ultimates that come online. Liking Curse being put to good use here under the Guardian, as Coven will manage to catch out that Warden and get out with just about a quarter of HP. But yeah, things happening all around as we hit that 8-minute mark and things start to come up. But one moment that I think we might have missed earlier, just because it was a small little thing. We saw Warden pick up the Cultist Sacrifice, and because he was under such pressure under his Guardian, it was forced to use it on a minion just to get the extra health and weapon damage. And that is a long cooldown where you're not getting the souls that you would want if you were using it on a tier 3 Denizen out in the middle. So just the pressure manifesting into a bit of eco advantage in a small little way there in that moment that manifests for the next couple of minutes.
I swear, Sword, I feel like you watch this game with like a microscope or a magnifying glass, because you're seeing things I can't even fathom. And so maybe his hefty bug is there thinking they can take 3 people on in this mid lane. He'll be shooed away, and that Cultist Sacrifice, as you mentioned, will be on cooldown, and so will the health bar of Pinecone as they're sent to the gray screen once again.
Yeah, this is the lane of focus, as you've got 3 members of Friendship Eternal here looking to put pressure on this last double Guardian lane. So things coming in here, and they're not even really going to be contested. Shiverme Timber's giving this one up. Maybe looking for some pressure here in middle, but there's no Guardian for them to really get onto, and it's their own that goes down instead. So kind of a quick comeback into things here for Friendship Eternal, as FACQ is left with the only Guardian on the map. Well, one of 2, I suppose, and the solo lane that Shiverme Timbers will now be crashing.
Well, they're going to look to get that urn. They've got a number of them, and Soren, correct me if I'm wrong, they got the urn first in the last game, right? So that leads into the statistic, if you get urn, you win game, and so they have to take down this Guardian to level set the waves and then get pillar control the best they can, but their pillar control characters, maybe not the best, usually like Billy or Calvin or Dynamo, really good, Sinclair even, to kind of help around that. For now, I think it's just the Abrams who has to play bodyguard around that pillar.
Yeah, but you don't even really need a hero who's particularly proficient at that when you've got 4 members here to the enemies too.
It's true.
Fair. Hook could be in the cards here, but doesn't manage to land onto Pinecone there, as Ivy will safely get away with that urn. You called out how important that was in game 1, and sure enough, Shiverme Timbers got the first urn and won the game in the end, even if might have been on Martin's a little wider than a 3k urn, but it's just so much early tempo that now Friendship Eternal are going to have to deal with, and they're choosing to make their play here onto this left side walker to try and make up for this urn.
It's all about trades, folks. If I'm giving up something, what else can I take? So, okay, we'll give away the early urn, but we're going to get pressure, maybe take down this walker as we bring our numbers to it. And there'll be an easy touchdown scored by Pinecone. And they get the friendly Guardian on this side, too. I mean, okay, the Affliction to start off the fight, and the Quantum Entangling to get everybody out of dodge. The Infernus dashing away. And he will not get away as Pinecone from range snipes him down, and they lose a couple members, but they do get the walker in turn.
Really want Shiverme Timbers to stay on this right side. You've got a 4v1 here. As you've already lost the left side walker, there's no point rotating for that. So, all right, they will re-engage minus their pocket. And the Singularity comes in under the walker, trying to get the stomp in, but the walker not obliging, and instead Dynamo goes down. Now Friendship Eternal really would love to rotate in. The Infernus comes in, gets a lot of damage here onto the Abrams, down to half HP. Now the Flame Dash tries to find him. Abrams ticking down very low. One more proc will do it. Manages to get away, but they have at least denied the walker take here, and Friendship Eternal with a nice play to turn things back a little more towards their side.
They can't lose anything else now. The Hidden King side, the Liking Curse, on to the Cursed Apple, and they want gargoyles for dinner, and they will do just that. Alfie helps out the Lycan, and they will get the support. I mean, Pinecone, as a support player myself, you always die for your team. You're the kind of lingering piece of meat, but the amount of damage on that walker in lane 3, Soren, is incredible.
It's down to sliver of HP, and that means that even if you want to backdoor it and give your life for it, it's probably possible for a couple of these members. So that is, in a way, extra pressure for Shiverme Timbers, as you're at least forcing them to be more active on those waves. You can't let it crash into the walker for free. Again, health bars being a resource, that applies to your objectives as well. So that walker health bar down to just a sliver as things start to develop here in the middle of the lane, middle of the map. You've got a nice 4v2. Friendship Eternal going in.
When will the action stop, Soren? And I hope it is never, as once again the teams are looking to lock horns. And one Bebop hook could settle it, but this Pocket gets a timely airdrop, and is he dropped back in? I think so. Or is he being held on? It's hard to tell. Yeah, okay, he's dropped in and he's dropped dead. Alfie is the one who's able to secure it. The Pocket, I thought, so shifty. In that instance, not so much.
I think he accidentally canceled it by pressing the briefcase. I think there's some kind of interaction where if you use a mobility ability, then it cancels out the airdrop. I'm not sure. Whatever it was, Nyack definitely didn't want it to happen, but Coven will be at least caught here on the back end if they're looking for more, as things just never stop in the Cursed Apple.
What the heck? Abrams, what are you doing? It's Pinecone to the rescue. They helped with the Lycan. Now can they help with the Priest? A shoulder charge for the gut shot in rebuttal, but this guy is a bull in a china shop. Cannot be tamed. The detective takes down the M1.
That's a good pickoff here, and you're looking for even more onto Dio here, down to just 1 HP. Will go down in the end, and Moe and Krill. Hefty Bug is fairly hefty, will likely get out, but that's even more space on the map for Shiverme Timbers, who've now accumulated a nice 8,000 soul lead, and will be able to continue that with a couple of these centers now on the enemy's side of the map. Things are at 2 walkers apiece, so that soul advantage not going to translate into objectives just yet, but as we come here into the 15-minute earn, does mean that Shiverme Timbers have that slight item advantage going into an important fight, and as that will start to snowball the further and further we get into this game.
Soren, do we need to see more from Alfie? Do we need to see more from Takoa? They're kind of like the lower ends of the economic pool here. They're kind of supposed to be the facilitators, the cleanuppers, the sweepers, whatever. Do we need to see more from these 2 key players?
Bebop hooks are always nice to hit. Moe combos as well will be a nice one there onto Takoa, who, as you said, has been struggling a little bit in this game, not able to find a whole lot of value in these team fights. But really the main thing for Friendship Eternal is you got to shut down Matt. This Warners is on 19k, and the next person below him is 5,000 below that. So FACQ, a decent bit behind in this one, whereas last game we pointed out one of the bright spots for Friendship Eternal was that their carry was able to stay even despite the team being behind. So if you can't continue to have your Venator farm up, things could begin to go the way of Shiverme Timbers with this 20k Warden.
He went Mercurial Magnum as his first tier 4 item. Is that just because he's in such a lead, he feels like he has the burst potential with that item? I mean, what's the decision there?
That is a little bit odd. That's not something I've typically seen rushed, but I guess this is meant to be a bit more of a hybrid Warden, where you need some of the spirit power and the gun damage, and Mercurial Magnum is kind of the poster child for the hybrids if you're looking to reload your weapon very often. So see if that's able to play out here, as it will be a full 6-on-5. Mirage the only one not here, but he's got the Traveler to go in as things start to pop off.
Oh man, everyone afflicted. The frogs flung once more. No combo online, and so far the kill feed is all the Hidden King. I mean, the Pocket, they dumped everything they had. They're okay with going down. Can anyone clean up these stragglers? That is what the Shiv is known for, with a killing blow and a slice and dice. The retreat horns have been sound for the Friendship team, but Alfie didn't get the call. They get eliminated.
I believe Friendship Eternal did get the earn there in that skirmish, though, so they're not too far behind off of that play, and in fact, they've shortened the lead just slightly, despite 4 members going down. Now, Shiverme Timbers will try and take advantage of that by getting a walker here, but at least you got the objective for that fight, your Friendship Eternal. So losses mitigated here. Shiverme Timbers, again, just lose a player here on the exit, as they don't manage to get that walker.
I love that. The combo into the Iridonomy, I mean, that's just free pickings for the Venator at easy stacks for Hefty Bug. The defense, it holds.
And you get Matt as well. We talked about you need someone to shut down that Warden, and there he is off the map for 40 seconds. And Friendship Eternal, again, are going to try and take this mid-boss at 17 minutes. They did this in game 1. It didn't go their way, but now Affliction off the board, Matt down. This one is actually kind of looking in their favor.
Definitely.
And no Sinclair.
No Sinclair. And the ultimate's no seismic impact. The stone form, though, we know how good the Ivy is at contesting, but it doesn't even matter if you just get beat up first. The ability usage sublime for the Shiverme Timbers. The entangling thorns choking the life from the circle of friends. Now they're on the run. They leave the Booger Man, say we can't take him down. It's the Bebop. The Scrap Golem turned into a heap of bones. One more shot will do it. Okay, please, somebody take him down, right? 30? No? Okay. The Scrap Golem, he's probably going to live from this. What?
Oh! Caster curse.
Oh, well, Sword, now it is the Shiverme Timbers who are on the front foot. They get all 3 rejuves.
Again, Friendship Eternal just overplaying their hand there. Cooper comes in with a nice shoulder charge and really sets up that fight nicely for Shiverme Timbers, as I feel like Friendship Eternal are carrying over bad habits from some of their previous matches, potentially, where they're trying to take advantage of bad team play, of teams not being aware of the mid-boss on the map and maybe not scouting properly, but Shiverme Timbers are just too experienced to fall for that old trick. They know when you're going for mid-boss, and they will be there to contest. Even down their Warden, they managed to take that fight, not even dropping a single player, so now 3 rejuves in hand for Shiverme Timbers, as they've got all the space in the world to work with. I believe they even managed to get that left side walker in all of that.
Yeah, they sure did. Soren, there's a checklist, right, that you need to go through before you contest mid-boss. Are our lanes pushed? Do we have our ultimates? What is our team comp looking like? What's our soul lead at? There's so many different things. It's not just like, oh, we got to pick time for mid-boss. You have to go through the whole thing. Otherwise, you give it up to the other team. And when I'm looking at Friendship Eternal, what is their mid-boss contest really? The Dynamo into the Concussion Combustion? You need both of those key ultimates online. And even then, it's going to be a tall order against a lot. What the heck? The Warden just flying through the city streets.
I need a replay on that. I have no idea what happened there, but whatever it is, Matt not a fan of it as he gets yanked all the way across the map. Now, maybe going to be saved as Nyack comes in with the Affliction, and Shiverme Timbers are all ready for this fight. Venator getting shoulder charge, but has his own stun into the punch combo. That's not going to be enough, though. A nice parry, FSCQ trying to make a fight of it, but Matt, again, at 25k, uses that last stand and is completely healthy. And Friendship Eternal, they get 1 rejuve for 3 kills.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, what a turnaround from the Hidden King side. I have to highlight Cooper in this match. He is on top of the Venator the entire time, and he's just taking shot after shot, stunning him. He's getting stunned himself, doesn't even care. As long as this Venator cannot deal damage, that's all that matters, and the rest of his team is following up, cleaning up the majority of the other members. So this just can't be highlighted enough, the space this guy's creating.
And that's exactly where you want to be on one of these tanky heroes. Is you want to be getting up in that M1 space before they're fully online and making sure that if they're not, dead, they're at least not doing any damage in the fight because they're shooting you. And that doesn't do a whole lot. So now, Shiverme Timbers will take the urn. They've got 2 rejuves left in hand, and Friendship Eternal are left with the catch-22 of, do we contest this urn and take a bad fight? Or do we just let them get further and further ahead? A lot of members on the left-hand side, if they're going to go to this fight, some members are going to be late.
I feel like they have to, Soren, because the mid-walker's right here. They have to at least try to kill some people or get some rejuves. Otherwise, if they get this urn, Shiverme Timbers, they'll go right into that mid-walker if they win this fight clean. So you have to sacrifice something to make sure that they can't get 2 objectives on the board and this game gets extremely out of hand. The Liking Curse needs to get on the Mirage. We talked about how shifty he is, and it is the Abrams, of course, who's being the front line. Oh my god, every bullet fired into him. The Singularity vacuums up 4. Oh, the rejuves expended for the Shiverme Timbers, but that's why they have him. The fight continues on with the Kamehameha from the Scrap Golem. Doesn't hit anything but air. The Goonfather will be in a coffin. It is just all the Shiverme Timbers knocking everyone down.
Oh, and a big hook from Alfie to finish off Magic Shoe as well. Friendship Eternal don't get the urn there. They at least trade out Magic Shoe and Nyack for that, though. And really, all of that was off the back of Shiverme Timbers recognizing that Coven had accidentally popped the Liking Curse and backing off, kiting that out, and waiting it out before they go back in. And then it was a nice trap as well. Alfie getting a nice hook here onto the Abrams, so that's maybe not who you want close to you. But before Hefty Bug used the combo to try and engage, and that's what picked off that whole fight. Now Shiverme Timbers are aggressing here onto this midwalker, trying to get a little bit of something in exchange for that later death.
Everyone afflicted with frogs on this mid-walker fight. Matt will be the one to open up the kill feed, and he'll net himself will kill the urn. Picked up, but at what cost or what point here, as the Goonfather is also eliminated. The walker in shambles, and this is all going the way of Shiverme Timbers.
Matt on a nice kill streak now. 31,000. You see how smug he looks up there. The urn now turned in for Shiverme Timbers as they've got base push, and I mean 30,000 in the lead now at 22 minutes. That is a nice looking number if you are an SMT fan. There's not even a whole lot for them to be able to take off of this with the mid boss already down. That's the bright spot for Friendship Eternal. But you've got pretty much everything you came for. You got the urn, you got the walker, you got a couple kills, and nobody has been able to stop Warden this entire game. The carry on the other side, really both the carries, Infernus and Venator, are significantly behind, so there's not even a whole lot of threat coming back into you for any of these future fights. Friendship Eternal at this point need to get some kind of a hero play from one of their setup heroes.
And thank you, Kashi, our producer and observer, for today, showing us the scoreboard, where the kills are at, who's got the items and the AP where. And when I'm looking at Goonfather going for this hybrid build, I mean, this is, in this era of Deadlock, seems curious to say the least.
Infernus has always been a bit more of a hybrid builder if you're going for that afterburn. Again, similar to some of the other heroes we've shouted out, there are two different approaches for Infernus right now. You can go the dash one, which is a bit more tanky, and just lay down those burning trails throughout the fight, or go for more the afterburn, which Goonfather is. I want to see him pick up a Ricochet at some point to be able to turn that individual damage into big team fight damage. But right now it seems like Shiverme Timbers, if you try and point your damage at just one person, they're going to be able to survive it. I mean, you see Matt here barely taking any damage as he's got the Unstoppable and all the tools needed to survive.
And they brought numbers. They brought 3 people to take the police officer down, put him in handcuffs, and now the turnaround is here. A couple of swift punches from the detective and his big beefy book, and Goonfather first fragged out in the fight, in the Magnum to the back of the skull will take down the werewolf. Must be silver bullets in that gun.
Again, Friendship Eternal trying to play aggressive, which is all that they can try and do, but it's just not the right target, not the right time, as Shiverme Timbers are able to rotate very quickly with that airdrop. Just the macro pressure of Pinecone being on this Ivy is so much for them to deal with that any sort of engagement, there's immediately 2 more members of Shiverme Timbers there. And that's going to lead into these buffs spawning, potentially the mid-boss as well. You see 3 members down there, and the urn going to be the next target for Shiverme Timbers as soon as they convert this one.
The Singularity is available, but can the Professor get here in time, or will he be late for class? The Hyper Beam from the stairwell, and everybody ducks and covers away from the Kamehameha, but the Shiv will play the doorman in this one. The final stand will be expended. Everyone dives in, and it will be Rejunes going every which way, but the kills will go only one way, and that is on the side of the Shiverme Timbers. The Hidden King once again dominating the fight here. They're just cleaning up a few stragglers. When it's all said and done, Shiverme Timbers on top.
And now 50,000 ahead. They're about to get the urn. They're about to get this last buff here casting. Okay, Goonfather may be able to at least sneak this one away, but your base is about to be under pressure, so there's only so much you can do with that. Shiverme Timbers at this point are in nearly an unstoppable lead as Pinecone here looks around for the urn and have actually managed to catch out Goonfather potentially.
He can't go down. They need him here. He's good at clearing the waves, keeping the base at least in some sort of intact. But the Shiv doing their best Abrams impression, just shooing everybody away, says, nope, this is my base now, and I'm taking your shrines.
Kind of an answer to your earlier question. This does look like more of a tank Shiv, so he can just get in there and absorb that damage from Goonfather and from FACQ and some of these others, just to let the rest of his team do the damage. He recognizes, I don't need to be doing all of this. I've got like 3 or 4 other people who are more than capable of taking down the health bars. So clear game plan in mind for Shiverme Timbers, as they've now got to try and navigate this situation where they've got a ton of pressure, but no kills to be able to really make an ingress onto the space.
Soren, I'm seeing a lot of amber on this map. Every wave being pushed into the Friendship Eternal base, and they have a sliver on one side, base Guardians, but that's about it. I believe one shrine is down. They need to get the other, but that means Mega Troopers in lane number 3. They can use that to their advantage. And with 2 minutes still on these rejuves, I think they're going to go for another push as soon as that Warden ultimate, maybe the Abrams comes online.
They're just looking to catch someone out. You see them just pushing the waves, gathering up. If they can find something off the back of a Pocket Affliction, would be big, but the combo comes in instead, and it's Pinecone who's caught out.
Okay, well, you get the support. We've seen that before in the stone form to try to turn the tables. Was that a reverse hook onto the Bebop? What? You don't see that. The base Guardian is felled. Now their eyes will be on the shrine, but first it will be on to Alfie. It'll be a 5-player kill streak for Takoa. They say, Soren, I'm not just a tank, I'm doing some damage. And Abrams getting fired into every shot, pelted into the detective, but it doesn't even tickle him. That guy is just too damn strong.
Cute little quantum entanglement there from Dio to get his team members out of dodge. And there are a couple of low health bars on Shiverme Timbers, namely Magic Shoe on this Mirage. But that's about the only thing that Friendship Eternal can manage in this fight, is that we'll be the first base patron down, and now it's one fight territory for Shiverme Timbers. They're waiting here, trying to catch someone out. Goonfather's maybe a little too aggressive.
Uh-oh, we've seen this before. People hiding behind the newsstand. And Goonfather first taken out, and the save your friend will cost Coven their life. Now everyone retreats back to the Archmother. This is one final stand, the Alamo for Friendship Eternal in week 1 for Death Slam League. But there's nothing this guy can do. He pulls in another big fish, but that's not the guy you want. Hefty Bug put 6 feet under the shoulder charge, just breaking everybody's bones. Dio, the next to fall in this, and so too will the Archmother. It's a 2-0 victory for Shiverme Timbers.
Good game.
And just like the Alamo, the team on the defense eventually loses to the superior firepower, but Shiverme Timbers, yeah. Well, Shiverme Timbers are able to take this one down in the end. Honestly, just due to superior team play. Like all throughout this series, they were answering in rapid fire answers to these ganks from Friendship Eternal. They were always on the map in the right places. They were always making something happen anytime that they fell behind just a little bit. And a couple of micro adjustments as well maybe needed for Friendship Eternal, as there were just several different hero plays on the side of Shiverme Timbers. And that's that X factor that we sometimes talk about when it comes to these matches, of sometimes your individuals are just better deadlock players, and that will carry you to a victory. But it was a mix of both here for SMT, and they show why they've been able to stick around in this league for so long.
Micro, macro, and everything in between. But it will be the big blue man, the poster child of Deadlock, who gets the MVP. Most healing, most assists, most kills. I mean, we were highlighting this Cooper on the Abrams all game long, and he rightly deserves this MVP.
You're always feeling good when you get top healing and you're not even a support. Like, all of that's just off of the lifesteal from the Siphon life. So, I mean, yeah, Cooper had a fantastic game on this Abrams. As you said, just getting in front of FACQ's Venator, making sure that they couldn't be impactful in these fights, and getting a couple of nice saves onto the Magic Shoe, like making sure that the rest of his team was able to stay alive, and using Abrams to his maximum effectiveness. And between the two games, Tetsuo in Game 1, Cooper in Game 2, you see why Abrams has been coming up in this meta. Eventually somebody figures him out, and people realize, oh, hey, this guy does exist. We can play him again. And this series nicely showcases why he's been such a high prio.
For sure. One of my favorite characters, and that's why I love where Deadlock is right now. Everybody, the changes so often. It's just constantly, okay, we're figuring it out. Who's going to be good now? Who's going to be good then? All that sort of deal. And I know, Soren, you've been good. I've been good. Fans, you have been good as well. We thank you for tuning in for this special presentation of the Death Slam League. Week number 1 for the NA Shiverme Timbers versus Friendship Eternal. For everybody at Death Slam events, it's HD Philly V, Soren Markov, and Kashi. We'll see you next time.